Welcome to Disney Odd Pod.
I'm Kat.
I'm G.
And this week, it's the return of Medfield College and Dean Higgins. Wait, just kidding. That was Medvale College. No relation.
No, it was Medfield.
No, D. I looked it up. The other movie was that I was thinking of, the Herbie movie, or not the Herbie movies, the Monkey's Uncle movies, the football thing, was Medvale College.
Well, guess what? It's all just a big ripoff because the Flubber movies are Medfield College.
Yes, I know. I realized that later, but it wasn't what I was thinking initially. I was like, oh my god, and wasn't this guy in this movie before? No, he wasn't. Wasn't in those movies.
No, but it's still all just a big rip.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The computer wore tennis shoes from 1969.
When a campus clown underwent an accidental brain transplant with a high-speed computer, the whole world was after his head. Now the young generation gets into gear, and the laughs are all on the establishment. The computer wore tennis shoes, coming soon.
So, my initial thought is I 100% had no idea this was part of a series.
This is boring as shit.
You thought it was boring?
We've already seen this movie twice or 3 times.
Well, and we're going to see it 2 more times.
Well, yeah, and that's a problem.
Because of Now You See Him, Now You Don't, a World's Strongest Man. And literally, it's the same thing happens to him each time, but with different things.
Yeah. It's not, but it's all just Flubber or Absent-Minded Professor or the Monkey's Uncle. It's the same movie.
I mean,
it's exactly the same fucking movie with the same name of college, the same, even though the same guy doesn't play him, it's still the same Dean.
Yeah.
It's just a gigantic ripoff.
I mean, they gotta make that money.
No, this is terrible.
They had to pay for the animation.
The longer this movie went on, the worse it got.
I didn't hate it that much. I was entertained. I found parts of it very funny.
I was not entertained.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So sorry.
So sorry. I found many parts of this movie quite funny.
This movie literally made me sick. I'm just kidding.
Okay. The computer ward, and you can watch this on Disney Plus, but you can't watch the
Barefoot Executive.
No, can't watch Barefoot. And the Monkey's Uncle you can't watch on Disney Plus.
No, you couldn't. We don't know that now.
No, I don't think you can still. Okay. Computer wore tennis shoes. Science fiction, comedy, crime. Dexter Riley, a handsome but bumbling Medfield College student, accidentally becomes a human computer when he is effortlessly transformed from a half-wit to a genius in an electrifying computer mishap. Gamblers, gangsters, and greedy college deans are quick to fight for control of his computer-like brain, especially when Dexter nonchalantly starts blabbering the syndicate's secrets.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
One of the richest donors in town is a known gambler?
But it's not really known. He has that code name. Remember the...
Really, though? Like, his computer industry, everybody knows that he's just a gigantic gambling front?
Well, I think it's one of those things, like, that people know, but they're not acknowledging. Also, I feel like Disney maybe had a huge problem with, like, gambling was, like, the end-all, be-all to evil, because remember that weird movie where the priest went to investigate the gambling thing with all those ladies?
Yeah, but that was kind of a thing. Gambling used to be a big deal.
No, I know. It's just funny how they go through these phases. So the director, Robert Butler, also directed Barefoot Executive.
Scandalous
John. And he did direct the sequel to this, but not the third one.
Yeah.
So.
Not that I think it makes any difference.
I mean, we'll see. The third one could be the best one. We know.
Oh my God.
World's Strongest Man.
Hey, that's the one that's the third one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
The second one is Now You See Him, Now You Don't. And I'm pretty sure that's what they were referencing at the end of this movie when she's like, what does this machine do? And he's like, oh, something. Let's not get one.
Oh, the heliospectrograph?
Yeah.
See you later. Yeah. See you later. Right.
Hey, Dexter? What's an electroheliospectrogram?
Heck, I don't know.
I don't know either. But if we ever get one, don't fool around with it, okay?
Okay.
So the writer...
Joe McEveedy.
So... I got very confused because So Joseph McEvedy is more of the writer, but his brother, Vincent McEvedy, is a director.
Does that have anything to do with Bernard McEvedy?
It probably does. I'm saying that because I kept thinking like, oh, this Joseph guy, he directed stuff. That name is so familiar. But no, it was his brother, Vincent McEvedy, directed a bunch of stuff. And Joseph just wrote stuff. He was like assistant director basically on a ton of different Disney assistant director and writer.
That doesn't mean anything.
Ton of different Disney projects.
He did this and all the sequels and...
Well, he did a ton of stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
Just pretty much exclusively for Disney.
So our star, Kurt Russ, we all know him. We've talked about him.
We literally just talked about him like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So if you need a recap on who Kurt Russell is, then you need help.
And then AJ the Gambler was played by Cesar Romero, who's best known as the Joker.
Yeah, no, that was actually pretty interesting.
And I love him as Joker, and I hated him in this movie. He just didn't have any kind of personality or...
That might have been, like, the script that he was working with. Yeah. Like, there wasn't much really to go off of. I mean, it was a pretty basic, simple script. Like, there wasn't a ton. He wasn't even in that much of the movie, really.
He wasn't. They had the lackey be in a lot of it for some reason.
And he reprises his role in both of the other movies. So I'm like, well, if he's in jail, how does he come back in the other movies? Like, does he break out of jail or something?
Does he go to jail? I guess they get caught.
Yeah, they get caught, so I would imagine he goes to jail.
But what can they really hang on him? Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. And then Joe Flynn plays the dean. We also just talked about him in Barefoot Executive. He plays the executive for the TV station.
Right. He plays almost exactly the same character.
Pretty much exactly. Even like everything about him is the same.
Yeah.
And then, so the henchman guy, William Schallert, he just did a ton of TV, and then he was in Inner Space, which I only know because that was a movie that my parents really liked.
Right.
In the 90s.
Yeah, he seemed to be a hell of a character actor kind of guy.
Yeah, pretty much in everything.
Yeah.
Oh, so...
To me, the most interesting one is the girl, the one that was the girl, the hot chick.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's roll that back. She is not hot.
No, she's not, but she was supposed to be.
Okay, no, she is not attractive. Like, she is...
Nobody said that, but she was still supposed to be the hot chick.
You just said that.
Yeah, but she was supposed to be...
Oh, she literally did nothing.
Yeah, she's been in nothing else.
Like, this is her only thing, and I think it's because they saw her on TV and they were like, whoa... Or on the movie screen, they were like, "Whoa, that was a mistake." And she wasn't.
Well, and she can't act.
No, she's horrible. She was really bad.
Yeah, she was terrible.
And then the other goon guy, Richard Bacalian, he was also the voice of the smaller bird in Fox and the Hound.
Now see what you done? You cost us our breakfast.
I cost us our breakfast. It was your fault.
What are you talking, my fault?
Yeah.
Oh, no. What are you talking, my fault? Oh,
yeah.
no. You were the one who let it
A
know. You were the
worm
one who
for
let it
breakfast?
Oh, yeah? Well, if it wasn't for you,
Yeah.
Wow, you really dug for that
I
one.
really did dig for that one.
I'll shout out the Skylar guy. He was the dude in Snowball Express.
Which dude?
So the guy that got the last question right in the thing.
Oh yeah, that is the guy from Snowball Express.
Yeah,
the like teenage
the snowmobile,
guy.
hey dude, we could do anything. Yeah, he was that guy. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which I appreciated that guy.
I knew he looked familiar, but I couldn't, and I
Yeah.
I forgot to look him up. But that made wow.
Wow, yeah.
Wow.
He's so much more mature in Snowball Express.
Shut up.
He is though. I mean, he looks not that he looks a lot different, but his face and everything is like his whole body is more matured. He looks like a real man.
He just looks fat.
No, in Snowball Express.
Oh, okay. Oh, because that would make sense if he lost his baby weight. That would make sense.
He's like 5 years older. Yeah.
Did you get any fun facts?
I mean, I guess. I think we already alluded to this is the first of the Dexter trilogy.
But did you... Kurt Russell's real dad, Bing Russell, played one of the henchmen of the A.J. Arno guy.
And this is the same college as Flubber. It's Medfield, so we already touched on that, too.
Yes, and I did put that down here, but when I initially was thinking about it, and then I looked it up I was thinking of the...
Midvale.
Of Medvale from the other movie, and I was like, oh, it's not the same, because I, for some reason, thought this guy was in the Monkey's Uncle and Merlin movies. I thought the same Joe Flynn guy was in that movie, but
I mean, because, come on, any of those square-glassed comb back hair guys could all be interchangeable.
The last one I had, when the doctor is looking into Dexter's eyes, he's using an anthoscope, which is for your ears, when he should be using he's using an otoscope, for your ears, but he should be using an ophthalmoscope, which is for your eyes.
Yeah.
So incorrect.
He doesn't know his ear balls from his eyeballs.
Nope. So I guess we will
compute our way through this.
I was going to say quiz our way through this.
Quiz, okay.
Well, and that was like half of the movie, was the damn quiz show.
Oh, the answer for that would be blah, 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 blah.
I have a lot of thoughts about that part of the movie, but it's fine.
Yeah, so we open the movie with the titular theme song.
The computer wore tennis shoes and a twinkle in his eye. Never met a groovier dude, an electric kind of guy. A guy that grace.
Computer wore tennis shoes and a twinkle in his eye. It was.
Oh, that was the other fun fact of the movie, is that Kurt Russell never had tennis shoes on the entire movie. He always had dress shoes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is quite fun, actually.
Yeah.
So they're at the college and they're having the obligatory preschool starting meeting about how they're going to spend, or just
it's just a capital budget meeting for the next year.
Gotcha.
And for some reason the students listen in.
Okay, so they're having this budget meeting. And the, computer science professor, even though they don't have a computer, is like, we need this supercomputer, da-da-da. And the guy, we can't afford it, we're a private... And I'm like,
we can't compete with school with state funds and taxpayer money.
But if you're a private college, you're getting so much funding and tuition.
I don't think that was a thing until student loans became a thing. I think private colleges were cheaper back in the day.
Okay, gotcha.
I think that's one of those things that got flipped upside down when the government decided to fund.
Okay, that makes more sense. Because I'm sitting here when he said that, and I'm like, well, but that doesn't make sense. But I wasn't thinking of that time. Yes, I guess that probably makes sense.
Yeah.
And all of the students are listening in, essentially.
Yeah, which is and they're all supposed to be absolute dumbos, but somehow they figured out how to do this.
Well, and that radio that was in his office was super big and obvious. You wouldn't see that in your plant. This giant radio sticking out of it.
But he's also an idiot, so...
He is an idiot. That is very true. And so then Dexter, our Kurt Russell character, he gets the idea, oh, this guy is selling this computer. I used to work for him. Maybe he can donate it to the school. Let's go talk to him. And it's this A.J. Arno rich guy.
Hey, I never forget anybody who works for me.
Yeah, and we see...
Lester?
quickly that he's running some kind of a money laundering scheme of some
gambling,
kind.
yeah. Gambling.
Doing something skeezy in the basement.
But the guy normally donates $20,000 a year to the school. And so instead he's like, yeah, I'll just give you this computer. And the dean is irate.
Well, which also didn't make sense because he's selling the computer for $10,000, but... He's cheapening out of another $10,000. He could have just given them $10,000.
Yeah.
That probably.
Well, he gives them 20, but
no, I'm saying he didn't. He just said, so essentially he's like, I'm saving $10,000 by not doing this, which is ridiculous. But
and so then there's computer shenanigans in class. They have
the
computer in there, and there's look at this and that, and it doesn't work quite right.
Yeah, because it needs a new part.
Yeah, it has. Which is hilarious. I mean, here it is, 1969, and a computer, quote unquote, is as big as a gigantic... What do you call a classroom in the university? It's not a classroom. It's a...
Lecture hall?
Basically a lecture hall. It's just huge.
Well, it comes
100 and something pieces of giant machinery.
Well, yeah, it comes in 10 refrigerator-sized things, basically.
Not 10. 50.
Well, it comes in a lot, and one of the parts breaks, and so the professor is, I guess I have to figure out how to get this part, and then Dexter's all, I can go get it, but apparently there's this really important test the next day where it's...
Some kind of aptitude test, but why would you have to take an aptitude test in college? That's for high school?
Right, that was confusing because...
That ranks the schools of the... It's what?
Yeah, it's very much a high school type test, but they're doing it for college.
Like a liberal arts college would always be at a disadvantage for a test like that.
Right. So it doesn't really make sense, but... So Dexter... the studying in the car was really crazy because he had like these post-it notes all up on his windshield.
Taped to the windshield on the side of his car. And he's like, oh, no. And he's like, no, it can't be 3 A's in a row. And I always like, people who think that it can't be all the same letter or whatever in a row when they're taking a test, those people are out their goddamn mind. You shouldn't even be paying attention to that when you're taking a test.
No, you should be paying attention to what the right answer is.
Yeah.
Or like, studying the material. Or, if you don't know, decipher the question to try to figure out what the not right answer is to give yourself a better chance of figuring it out. But so he goes back with his computer part, and of course we get some weird wacky weather incident.
It's like raining and for some reason flooding in the classroom.
Yeah, where was all that water coming from?
And where was it the next morning?
And magically none of the other computer parts are ruined from all this flood water coming in there.
Yeah, but he plugs the computer in, and now he's a computer.
Yeah, because literally him getting shocked, he's holding these 2 pieces of wire. And he's not alarmed at all. He's not.
And instead of being dead, which he would have been.
No, Disney magic.
Yeah.
Disney magic.
In his sleep, he's actually saying the gambling terms. He's like, Applejack, 640 animal. I forget what the rest of it is, but
it was like
because it's like what they want on the horses, the card games, and the slot machines.
Right, and he was doing it in his sleep too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I was saying.
Or earlier in the movie, the computer was doing it.
Yeah, and now he's doing it in his sleep, and his roommate's like, you were beeping.
Yeah, beep, beep, boop, boop. Like, not alarming at all.
It's like, what? No, I was sleeping.
And so then they go to the test, and he just starts, like, speeding through the test. And this part was actually I found it funny. Because
this is not funny. This is annoying as shit.
No, I found it really funny because all the other students were like, shut the fuck up.
As soon as he was done, he should have left the classroom.
I found it funny.
Oh,
and he's just
no.
He's eating his snack, and everybody's
This was I didn't write it down, and I should have, but this was a Swiss Family Robinson too goddamn long of a scene.
Oh no, I fucking loved it.
No, man.
I thought it was so funny.
This killed me. I was like, oh my god. No, we're not going anywhere with this scene. Just please end it. Please end it. Or make it actually funny.
I thought it was funny.
Good for you. I'm so happy for you.
You were ill at the time. You don't know what's going on.
I wasn't ill yet. The end of the movie made me sick.
30 minutes later. So the dean is convinced that he cheated, and the professor guy's like, it's not possible. Like, I watched him take the test. Like,
yeah, he couldn't have cheated. There's no way to cheat on this test.
Oh, and also that's part of the testing I thought was funny was when he was trying to, like, change the chick's answers on her test.
Oh, yeah, he was trying to take it for her, and she's like, no!
That was funny.
It was that specific part of the whole thing, yes. That was actually funny. That reminds me of something I would try.
Yeah, it was funny. And so they take Dexter to the doctor, and this part is ridiculous. They look inside of his ears and his eyes.
And you can see the computer.
You can just see computer parts. And I laughed out loud. I thought it was funny.
So dumb.
It is dumb, but that's why it was funny. I was like, Jesus Christ. And so, of course, all of a sudden, they tell everybody about it.
And he's going to go on TV to prove that it's real.
Right.
Which makes perfect sense. Like, oh, you know what we could do? Oh, let's put him on TV with experts. That'll prove it to everybody that it's real. Well, it does, because he answers all these math questions, and
he's like, fuck your math questions, let me have something else.
This is our third question in mathematics. I hope you're aware that I'm perfectly equipped to go into other fields.
Of course.
So they send him on a national tour where he's like doing all these things, like watching shuttle launches, and
the students don't like him now because he's overconfident. It turns him off, and he's out there getting a bunch of pussy off all these other girls from other colleges and stuff.
Annie really doesn't like that, and I'm like, sorry, Annie, you're way too basic for.
Bitch, you ugly.
Well, this is the part when she was looking at the camera. I was like, oh, you're really unattractive.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, he's too cool for you now.
You're ugly and flat.
Yes, sorry, Annie. And so when he gets back, Mr. Arno takes him to the racetrack because he assumes he can pick the horses for him, which why wouldn't you just use the computer before that to pick the horses?
I think that's what they were doing, but it wasn't 100%. It wasn't even close to 100%.
Oh, gotcha. So Dexter's able to analyze all the stuff and picks a horse called Market Doodle.
But and you're skipping out a little bit of an important part.
Oh, okay.
Before this, the state college guy is trying to recruit Dexter.
Right.
And Dexter blows off all of his homies and Annie. He's like, and he goes off and does the gambling thing.
Okay, the state college recruiter guy and his interactions with the dean I also found very funny because he's like, oh, poor you, because
they were somewhat decent.
Well, because when he's talking about, oh, I can't stand that guy, he's always going over his buildings, and he comes over there, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I haven't been around.
I'm building and building.
I should have gone into architecture or construction instead of education. Ha ha ha. The dean's disdain for the state college guy is quite funny to me.
It is.
So of course he picks the horse and it wins all the things.
Yeah, they win $28,000.
And then the goon guy, the sidekick guy, is gonna take him to a casino party.
This makes so little sense.
What was the point of that? That he was gonna bet on all of the slots?
I guess. But why, when you're trying to win Curry with this kid, and you're trying to take him out to a nice dinner, why don't you take him out to a nice dinner instead of take him to gamble more?
Well, okay, and this is just a small note I have too for this that really bothered me. This is back in the day when people actually tipped for stuff. Not one person tipped the damn valet taking their cars.
True. And that's the other thing at that Garibaldi's is, when the deans go in there, they would notice it's not a steakhouse or anything like that. Right. It's just gambling. They'd be like, we gotta get the fuck up on out of this bitch.
Yeah, because it's an illegal gambling front.
Yeah.
And so both of the deans are, chasing him, essentially, right?
Yeah, at this point. And then as soon as both the deans get in, the cops show up and take everybody to jail.
Oh, that's right. And then while they're in jail, Dexter has a heart-to-heart with the side goon. He's like, I'm just realizing everybody's out for themselves. And
the side goon's like, well, fucking A, dude. Of course everybody's out for themselves.
Yeah. Don't you think everyone thinks about themselves? That's not that revolutionary of a thought. You're dumb. So it was kind of like a growing up moment for Dexter.
But it's really not, because immediately all of his friends are pooling all their money together to get him out of jail.
Okay, and
so it totally reinforces his stupid idea that everybody's not in it for themselves.
Yeah, and there's 20 kids in there, and the cop running the counter is like, you're short 50 cents or whatever.
$2.50.
$2.50. He's like, but I'll cover it just to get you the hell out of here. And I thought it was funny.
So they bail him out, and Annie's like, yo, I'm still down to fuck if that's what you want to do.
And he's like, okay, I was being a dickhole. And then he decides he's gonna go to stay with the local college or the private college and enter the knowledge competition.
Yeah, he's like, I'll stay here.
And I just feel like they wouldn't, because of how famous and how all this publicity about how is so smart and that he has a computer brain, I feel like they wouldn't allow him to compete. No. It's like taking steroids.
Here's the opposite. Here's why they do want him to compete. They want him to win so that they can say that their stupid encyclopedias are what made him so smart. They want him to rep those encyclopedias.
Maybe.
Definitely.
I feel like it's just cheating.
Because the encyclopedia guy is all about it. He loves that guy's in it.
You're probably right. Yeah. I just still am like, come on.
You gotta come at this movie with a strong, cynical eye of capitalism.
It's not right. And so he basically just answers all the questions, but then towards the end, his brain goes nutso because one of the answers to one of the questions is Applejack, and it triggers that.
And he starts going, Applejack, animals, 724.
Yeah, and
machines, 323.
Yeah, and so Mr. Arno, for some reason...
Games. Games is the other one. Games, 302.
Yeah. Mr. Arno, for some reason...
he recognizes the code because he heard it from the computer when they had the computer.
Right, but I can't recall, were they watching this on TV or listening to it on the radio?
They were watching it on TV.
Okay, so he's watching it on TV, so he's like, oh my god, we gotta get rid of this kid.
Get rid of him.
So, first he's like, we just gotta capture him, basically. So, they're kidnapping him because
and they find, and everybody figures it out because he didn't show up for Annie's fuck date. Mm-hmm. And she's all upset. She's like, he wouldn't have missed this.
He was supposed to be at my house at 8:30 at night.
Yeah.
To study anatomy. And so then Annie and this other blonde kid, Pete.
Fucking Pete. Fucking runner-up Pete, man.
Yeah.
What a loser. He's runnering up for Annie. Jesus Christ.
Even though him and Annie look like they could be related, but whatever.
Yeah, but he was still desperate.
He was pretty desperate. And so they decide to stake out Mr. Arno and...
Well, they figure out the Applejack stuff, and they try and give it off to the cops, but they send Skylar, who's a fucking buffoon.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never seen... I didn't know that way that they spell his name is pronounced Skylar.
Yeah.
It's Schuler.
Yeah. It's spelled a weird...
It's like, what?
It's spelled a weird way. Because, yeah, they send him to tell the cops what's going on, and of course the cops kind of dismiss it at first a little bit.
But then they kind of get it, and they eventually totally get it.
Correct. And
yeah, so they follow the stooge.
Okay, and I'm sorry. Those cars are so damn loud. He's like revving his engine. We gotta secretly follow this guy. Like, what are you doing?
But that's how it was back then. Every car was loud as fuck.
I know, but they're like driving behind these warehouses like, oh, you don't think that guy would notice a car is following me? I don't know. It was off-putting.
They needed a Prius.
It was off-putting. And so then they see the Dexters at this house, this like hideout house, and they're forcing him to pick horses for these races, essentially.
While he's eating fried chicken.
Yeah. And then they decide we have to get rid of Dexter. And they overhear this.
Well, yeah, AJ is like, he calls him up and he's like, yeah, you guys gotta get rid of him. He's like, oh, well, I want to still have him pick me out some more gambling things, so we'll keep him alive for a little while longer.
Yeah. And so then the next day, all the kids get the brilliant idea to...
paint the house.
Come disguised as painters. And the dude sees them painting. He's like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, here's our number. Call.
See, the weird thing is about this is there was, 10 of them?
Yeah.
They could have mobbed deep on these bitches and just killed those guys and saved him.
Right. Like, nobody's...
Like, right away, there was 2 of those guys.
Nobody's doing anything.
Yeah, you could have just tied them up immediately. You could have just bombed in the house and tied them up.
Correct, sir.
And then there's one point where the Pete guy is talking. He's like, oh, man, Charlie, you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, why do you give a fuck how he's painting the house?
Right.
Like,
Shut the fuck up.
All of a sudden, you're concerned about the house being painted correctly versus actually, like, looking...
With the most horrible olive green and, like, some kind of...
orange color,
I think? Miami Dolphins orange color. It was terrible.
It was real weird.
Ugly.
So then all of a sudden the kids, they realize that Dexter's been put into a trunk, and so then they just start attacking all the guys with paint.
See, here we go. They could have just attacked him in the first place.
Yeah. And Dexter's still in the trunk. He gets, like, thrown off the roof, basically, in the trunk. And I'm like, okay, you'd probably be dead, but whatever.
The trunk would have definitely come apart, but I don't think he would have been dead.
I don't know. It's a 2-story house, and he fell off the second story. I'm just saying. Questionable. It was the second story.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was only 1 story down. That's all I'm saying.
It's still pretty far. Pretty far. And of course, we get the goofy car chase, which we have not had one of these in quite a while.
Yeah, this car chase is ridiculous, because at this point, AJ shows up.
You're probably out of gas, you idiot. What's going on here?
We're painting everything.
Well, what do we do now?
The kid's car.
Well, come on, let's go. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
And they had dumped paint in the gas tanks of every car, except Dexter's.
And they forgot about it, so of course...
So all the bad guys pile into Dexter's car, which is like some crazy... I forget what they even call it. Are those rat rods? No, those aren't rat rods. That's
clown car?
It's some kind of crazy 50s, like the most unsafe possible thing that you could drive.
And so they're driving down there, and the kids are tossing everything out of the back of the thing as possible.
They have like 50 gas cans and 80 paint tins to throw at these guys.
Yeah.
Over and over again, just like boom, 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 boom. They pour some paint out, and the car spins around.
Yeah.
And that works once. They try and do it again. It doesn't work the second time.
Know, they don't go to the police station. They got to get Dexter to the competition.
Well, they're in like some kind of... Well, I guess it is a paint truck, but it is like the oldest, slowest 40s paint truck
Yeah.
alive.
I feel like with all those kids back there weighing it down, that they would have caught them.
Well, they were fast enough to catch them, yeah. But then again, they turn on the paint gun and hose AJ down.
It's suspect.
With his gun.
Yeah. But they take Dexter back to the competition, and he's struggling like he's got a speech impediment almost the entire time.
Well, because I think him falling off the roof and getting overheated in the box knocked the computer out of his brain.
I think
that was the point.
It's the overheating like a computer. I didn't think about it like that because I was like, this is sus. But if it's, because if your computer gets overheated, it'll be slow.
Yeah.
And then at the end, the dumb guy saves the day. And I didn't mean to yell it out loud because he was like, come on, Dexter, I've talked to you about it 100 times. I'm like, then fucking say it. Like, what are you doing?
He was like, Lawrence, Kansas.
Yeah, the dumb guy finally says it. They win the prize. And then the bad guys just follow them straight there, and they get captured by the police.
They run into the police car, literally.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden we're back to the main office again, and they're arguing about some other machine they need to get, which I theorize is in the sequel.
The heliospectroscope.
Yeah. And that's the end of the movie.
This is, of this era of movie, this is easily the worst one so far.
I disagree. I enjoyed it.
Which one's better? What's worse than this one of this era of movie?
What do you consider this era? Be specific.
Like the late 60s, early 70s.
Hold, please. I'll tell you. I need a visual
Although
aid.
now I may be wrong too and not realize it because I'm just like spinning it off my ass.
I need a visual aid. 1 second.
But you know what I mean by this era. It's this kind of era of movie. Era.
No, I got it, but...
No, this is easily the worst.
So wait, when did this movie come out? What year?
1969. What are you going to try and say the fucking Boatniks is worse than this? I don't think so. The Boatniks is way better than this.
I mean, I think that...
Oh, you don't like Smith.
No, I don't really like Smith, but this is better than Smith.
No, it's not. Smith is way better
sorry, I
than
meant Smith
this.
is better than this. I think this is better than Monkeys Go Home. It's only a couple before it.
Monkeys
and we
Go Home is
also,
more
to
entertaining.
be fair, we haven't watched a lot of movies in this range.
I know. I'm just saying of what we've watched. This is, to me, the lowest of them. I like Monkeys Go Home. Monkeys Go Home is rad.
At the time, you said this movie sucks.
Yeah,
so
but it's still rad.
It's sus. It's a little sus. Okay. So did you get any awards there?
Well, so my first award is the ripping off every other previous college movie award of, I'm going to call it the...
plagiarism?
The Merlin Award for What the Fuck Are You Doing?
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to give a questionable science award to the accident itself and the medical examination. Like, what... If you literally looked inside, you're a doctor, and you look inside someone's brain and you see a computer, like, I feel as though he would immediately want to be studied by, like, the government. He wouldn't be going on some celebrity booze cruise. He would want to be studied.
Especially when the actual computer's still out there.
That's what I mean. Like, it's questionable plot, questionable science.
So I'll tie that in. My other award is the Jack Jack Award for Choose Your Own Plot Device.
I almost did that, but what?
No, totally. They just picked. They're like, okay, this is we're gonna do this, and this is the rules of our universe. Like, give me a fucking break.
The rules don't apply here. It's fine.
Forget about the rules.
I also have another one of my own. It's the I forgot how much I missed that award for the wacky car chase scene. Aww. I just love those wacky end chase fight scenes that Disney does. And
it is most of these era of movies. That is true.
And we haven't had one in a long time. And as it was happening, I said, oh, I forgot how much I missed that.
I think the last one we had was that gambling movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot how much I missed it.
Yeah. Which that one was way better.
Well,
I mean, that one was really good.
You're comparing Demolition Derby to Looney Tunes paint throwing? It's not even in the same category.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
But I love a good classic wacky end fight chase scene.
Wait, what was the award that I gave earlier in the... Because that should have been my other award. I didn't write it down, but...
the snake wrestling.
Yeah, the snake wrestling for the goddamn testing scene.
I like the testing scene. I enjoyed every moment of that Snake Russell. I
don't think any kid would have tried to eat in class back then. I think that bothered me a lot.
But he's Dexter. He does what he wants.
He's a fucking bitch.
He's also a computer. He's basically a baby. He's only been alive for like a day.
Gaga. Does a computer need to eat?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. There's a lot of questionable, like, how much of his brain, like, wouldn't his entire brain be taken over like a computer? Or like,
yeah, like, why would he be getting co-eds?
And why wouldn't he know before he went to take the test? Like, wouldn't you wake up and be like, I'm suddenly smarter?
Maybe not if you're so dumb you don't know you're not smart.
I mean, that is possible.
It's like, I don't need to study. What are you talking about, Quigley?
I also still have one question. What do you think the odds are? I think I already know the answer. That the following two movies are literally going to be the exact same movie.
Oh, 150%.
Like, you think there's no chance there's any variation?
No, just the chicks. But otherwise, it's going to be Kurt Russell. I gained a power. I lost a power. And Cesar Romero's in all three of them.
And I saved the college. Yeah,
and I saved the college or whatever in the end. I mean, I'm not looking forward unless the supporting cast in the next two can actually bring this up a level. Like if there's a better Annie or whatever,
yeah,
maybe that can help. But otherwise, I'm really not looking forward to that.
Well, hopefully we won't get them anytime soon.
Yeah.
Biggest surprise or disappointment?
There's no acting punch in this movie. That's actually one of my problems. Is okay. So Kurt Russell's still just a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody else like really brings it. Like I was so disappointed by Cesar Romero. Like because he should be able to bring it. He was the second best Joker or the third best Joker. Like why couldn't he bring a better villain?
Yeah, and I mean I guess I just feel like he wasn't given good material maybe, but my biggest disappointment is just that they really missed a huge thing with not making all of these Medfield College movies one giant.
They should have made it
because
instead of ripping each other off, they should have made it a universe.
Because think about it like this: because you have in 1961, you have Absent Minded Professor, 1963, Son of Flubber, Merlin Jones 64, Monkey's Uncle 65. And then this is in
69.
69 plus the following two movies. And you could have even had like Fred McMurray, I'm sure, would have made some stupid cameo as like.
If he didn't die, I think he might have died.
Well, okay, then
but still, I mean, you could have made it a whole universe.
They could have had like his wife make a cameo, or they could have had like
they could have brought Perv Bait back to make a cameo,
or Annette Funicello, like something. They could have done something to make this all connected, and I feel like it would have been just better. But I guess they didn't think about stuff like that back then. But
yeah, and especially over a 20-year time frame, they weren't really thinking about it. But
I just that's my biggest disappointment.
Yeah,
is that
fair enough? Let's see here. Remake anything?
You know, the only thing I said is like I kind of wish when he was out doing like the world tour, they could have almost done like it would have been funny to do almost like a Forrest Gumpian type of thing where he's like running into different famous people or like solving problems with his computer brain. I would have enjoyed that more than like...
I would have done more solving problems than Forrest Gumpy, but okay.
But you know what I mean? Like things like major scientific discoveries, right. like just kind of like a joke thing, more than like the competition thing. I would have enjoyed that. Seeing him on tour doing stuff more than the college competition. That would have made a more interesting movie, I think.
For me, I would have beefed the cast.
Yeah.
They really needed to inject more talent and maybe pick a lane. Like, is this academic? Is this the fame? Is it the
crime?
Gambling? It tried to be too many things for too many people at too much at once. Yeah. And I
think it should have been more focused on fame, crime. Like that could have been an interesting movie and taken out the education part. Almost completely.
And if it was me, I would go crime education. To keep it, just to make it more simple and more local and more fun.
Yeah.
I didn't need the international superstar because the world would have lost something as soon as he became stupid and that would have been a bigger story.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Like, I would have rather it stayed a little more cohesive.
Either way, they needed to pick a lane. I think we both agree.
Yeah,
The movie was too many things for one thing.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it, but...
Any final thoughts there? Yeah.
No, I mean, that's kind of was pretty much sums it up. I mean, I didn't dislike the movie. I enjoyed watching it. I didn't think it was bad. I definitely clearly liked it more than you did.
Yeah, I just thought it was a bit of a snoozer. I just think it could have been better.
Did you get a budget?
No, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, the only thing I found was they made at the box office $728,653.
At this point, I think I was starting to...
Yeah, I think you were starting to not feel well at this point.
Yeah.
But
So, if you had to give this a rating, Kat, what would you rate this movie?
So I found this slightly above middle of the road, but not a, great movie by any means. So I gave it a 64%, or 6.4 out of 10, here comes Market Doodles. Because I don't know why, but that Market Doodle of the horse racing scene actually, I think, was my favorite part. Yeah. But I thought it was funny.
Not at all. So I mean, it seems like I really disliked it, but it's still, there's a floor to these movies. I give it a 43. I think it was fine, but just not anybody's best. What do you think the Rotten Tomatoes score?
I mean, it can't be that bad because they made 2 more movies, I feel as though. So I'm going to say probably closer to me, maybe like a 68%.
With the critics, it's got a 50%.
Ooh, that's kind of surprising.
Rotten. And the people, 40. Everybody's with me. This movie sucks.
I liked it. That is actually pretty surprising. I am I'm shook.
A little shocked.
A little bit. I thought it was better than that, but that's just me. I enjoyed the movie.
And now it's time for Kat's favorite part of the podcast.
Woo!
And this time we get number 213.
God damn it!
What?
212 is Hercules. This is bullshit, man.
Well, this is definitely not Hercules.
What a bummer.
It is. You were right, though. You do know it.
You don't think I have that memorized in the back of my brain?
I guess I didn't realize.
Well, it's not animated then. It's live action, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's in the 90s. Like 96 or 97, right?
Wait, let me see what I say. 213?
96 or 97, right? The year.
I'm getting back there. 97, yeah.
I have no idea what was going on.
The one directly before Air Bud.
Oh, maybe it won't be bad then.
I would temper my expectations. Number 213 from 1997 is George of the Jungle.
Oh no, I'm excited.
I am not excited.
I love this movie.
Oh, you've seen it. Oh, great. This is one of the Brendan Fraser movies I definitely have not seen.
Okay, I will say it's pretty wacky, but
I'm sure. Okay. 1997 Brendan Fraser. The only thing I have going for me is I'm Buff movie. That's definitely wacky.
Yeah. So it's George the Jungle. So do you know
George
of the Jungle?
Yeah, of course. That's all you need to know. It's George of the Jungle.
But what happens in the movie?
He meets people and they betray him somehow, and he wants to stay in the jungle, except for he finds a hot chick and he doesn't want to stay in the jungle.
I guess we'll
find it. It's George of the Jungle.
But I will say it's been a really long time since I've seen it.
Right, you might hate it.
I might hate it now. But I have fond memories of it in my head. I thought there was a lot of it that I found very funny as a kid.
Fond movies. Okay, well, cool. In the meantime, if you'd like to subscribe, leave a review.
5 stars. Share with your friends. Phone a friend. Use a hotline.
Send us an email. DisneyOddPod@gmail.com. Whatever you want to do. Reach out, don't, whatever. Who cares? Listen to the show. But in the meantime...
I care.
This has been Disney Odd Pod.
I'm Kat.
I'm D.
Bye!
Asshole. Asshole. Stinky asshole. Stinky asshole. Asshole so stinky. Asshole.
Put that over against the wall.
Asshole. That's as far
It's
as
as far as it goes. Okay.
Asshole so stinky.
Yeah, I got it. Your asshole is stinky.
Asshole.
And I have the joy, pleasure of experiencing it firsthand.
Asshole.
It's too bad the podcast doesn't have smell-o-vision.
Asshole.
Stop saying that.
You don't want me to say asshole?
No, I don't.
Asshole so stinky. Asshole.
Wow, since I can actually hear this week, that does actually sound a lot better, assuming you stop with whatever you're doing over there.
Asshole.
Do you need to scoot the table closer to you? Is that what's going on?
Oh, no.
You gotta get your stuff pulled up, get your notebook out, get ready for school. So just to clarify before we get started, we're going back to the old way. Or am I still going to look it up, but you can't look at it?
Asshole.
Which way are you going to do it?
However you want to do it.
No, because last time I thought we had it figured out, and then you were like, I'm an asshole.
Asshole.
It's how, if you want me to look at it, it just means you can't pull it up. Like, don't even have it open.
Yeah, what do you want to do? What do you want to do?
I don't care, but one of us has to be surprised.
Well, right, just pick a lane.
We'll just go back to where we were before.
Okay.
I didn't think there was anything wrong with that.
Asshole. I couldn't access the list for a little while. That's what was wrong.
Yeah, and then you wanted to take your power back, but you didn't want to admit it.
I didn't know. I just couldn't help myself.
That's my point.
I didn't want. It has nothing to do with power.
And you were like, no, it's fine. We can both look. I'm like, no, that completely makes it unfun.